Okay. So chapter 10, we closed shloka 10, right? Okay.
I think we did 10 and 11.
No, still 10, 7 to 10. Last time
Yes,
we
we
did
closed on 10. We closed on 10.
closed on 10. Yeah. So by now we've had a few classes on chapter 10, and we understand that he is explaining to us his manifestations through vibhutis, and these are highest expressions of himself in various aspects of life. So he starts off by explaining to us his manifestations in terms of the emotions and the feelings that we have. Then he talked to us about his manifestations in the form of various types of consciousness, metaphysical as well as physical. He told us about, his expression in the Srishti Chakra, the 25 elements that he told us, and those 25 elements referred to the seven maharshis, and the four Kumars, the 14 Manus. So he gave us those expressions of himself, right? And then he told, and why is he telling all of this? Is because because Arjun now he has reached a state where he wants to connect to the Lord in this world. And the only way to connect to the Lord while being in this world is to find his expression in this world in various forms, right? So all the way from 7 to 9 and now continuing in 10th, this is exactly what Bhagwanji is telling him, how to find Bhagwanji in the world, right? To various manifestations. Otherwise, what happens if you are not connecting to Lord through the manifestations in this world? It's very easy for us to be taken away, to be swept away by the glamour of the world. The world is extremely glamorous, right? The Maya is extremely, extremely duratatya. Very, very difficult to get past. Okay. And it's like a river that is flowing very fast. If you walk into that river, you are 100% going to get swept away. The only way to make sure that you don't get swept away is to anchor yourself on the bank, and then you enter it with that anchor holding you. And that anchor that will hold you against flowing away with the wake of the river, with the flow of the river, is this connection to the Lord. And this connection to the Lord will be when we start to identify him, when we start to see him in various ways. Okay. And all of us have different consciousness. We have different ways, beings. We have different personalities. And so different types of things appeal to different types of people. We engage with the world in different ways. And hence he's giving us so many different ways to identify him and see him in this world. Okay. And then he has told us that people who are constantly connected to me, right? Tesham satat yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam, 10th shlok that we ended on. The people who are constantly connected to me and who love me all the time and who worship me with that love, those are the people to whom I give buddhi yoga, dadami buddhi yogam tam, right? And with that yoga of wisdom, do they attain me? Dadami buddhi yogam tam is related to karma yoga. I give you that yoga of wisdom, the intellect. We have to, because why? Why is he giving us, why is that buddhi yogam important? When your intellect is connected to the Lord, then that intellect will then direct your antakaran. That intellect will direct your mind. It will direct your body, your senses, to only be utilized for Bhagwanji's seva. So your karma yoga will become possible. It will become possible. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. And through that, you will attain me. That is why we are doing all of the things. Now we'll get deeper into and we will invoke bhakti yoga in today's class. And you will see how Arjun gets to that level of bhakti yoga. Okay, we've not yet talked of Bhakti Yoga. All through from chapter 7 to chapter 9, all the way into chapter 10, thus far, he has been imparting us knowledge. He's been telling us how to find him, examples of him everywhere. Okay. So with that, we'll start shloka 11. Vijay, will you read with us?
The Lord now says what he does for such devotees.
No, shloka 10 is done. So,
Oh, sorry.
10.
Yeah, just reminding them. Okay. The light of his perception results in his attainment. What happens on his attainment is now stated by the Lord.
Yeah. Tesham evanukampartham
Tesham evarukam partham
aham ajnanajam tamaha
agam ajnanajam tamaham
aham ajnanajam tamaha
aham ajnanajam tamaham
nashayamyatma bhavastha
नाशयात्मान भावस्तः
nashayamyatma bhavastha
नाशयाम्यात भावस्तः
ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता
ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वताम्.
Tesham. Who are these people? Tesham basically mean those people. Who are we referring to here? These are those people who are connected to me. Tesham is those who are connected to me. Anukampartham. Anugrah. Krapa karne ke liye, or to I give grace to them. Aham is me. Agyan, ajam, born out of agyan, born out of ignorance. What is born out of ignorance? Tam, darkness. Nash, I destroy. Yamya, one, no. Nash yamya, I destroy. Then Atma bhavasthaha, one who is established is in his own self. अपने भाव में खुद स्थित. Atma bhavasthaha, one who is established in his own self. Gyan Deepen is the lamp of knowledge. Bhaswata is effulgence. So here the effulgence of God.
Only out of compassion for them, I destroy the darkness born of ignorance by the well-lighted lamp of perception, thus unifying myself with their beings. Destruction of ignorance by light of perception. The Lord says that the entire darkness born of ignorance is destroyed by the light of his perception. It has been explained in 7th chapter that to regard the physical form as real is ignorance. The ignorance is not removed only by regarding them as unreal, by ignoring the duties of life. Rather, by doing so, ignorance becomes more firmly rooted. For example, a man caught in mire gets deeper and deeper if he tries to get out of it by his own strength. But grasping outside support, he gets out easily. The endowment of perception by the Lord is such a support by which one can get out of mire of delusion born of ignorance. In the first line of this shloka, the Lord says he lights the lamp of perception in the minds of those who worship him with love, only because of his compassion for them. But this compassion is not capricious. If a man free of all self-conceit fixes his mind on the Lord, his compassion is compulsorily attracted towards such a devotee.
Okay. So, Tesham evanukampartham. Right? We'll focus on this a bit. Tesham. Who are those people that are being referred to here? These are the people who are referred to are the ones explained in Shlok 10. Tesham is those who are satat yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Those who are always connected to him. Those who have no desire of material nature left in their hearts. Okay, those who do not want anything, not even mukti. Okay, all they want to do is to priti purvakam bhajan. All I want to do is your bhajan with love. And how do you do his bhajan with love?
Yeah.
Bhajan with love comes from when you are but you're sitting in this world. Okay. So yes, it does mean puja, it does mean nam jap, but it also means being able to recognize him and connect to everything in this world as he has explained to us in chapter 7 onwards thus far. Right. So those are the people that have been referred to here. Now, what does he do to them? Anukampartham, I give them my grace. Okay. And why does he do that? It's because he is full of compassion. He's full of love. So when his bhakta, when his devotees give him that much of love and they are constantly, expressing their love to him, he wants to give something back to them. But these guys don't want anything, right? They don't want anything. They have no desire left in their selves. Their only desire is to know God and to do his service. So then he gives his grace to them and he destroys the agyan, the tamas in them by lighting the lamp of knowledge, because that's the only desire they have left in them.
So, right?
Yeah.
So, with these people, right, the Tesham people, like Tuvina is saying, all they want is to sing praises and experience divinity. They want to experience Bhagwanji. Now, and for all the tools we've been given are all sansarik or are all worldly objects. So, the tool of eyes, it's through the tool of eyes that we can perceive and see, right? A worldly tool will never be able to perceive Bhagwanji fully. You need a divine tool to perceive Bhagwanji. We are finite in our intellect. We are finite in our sansaric tools. So we can never experience the infinite. So this is where Bhagwanji says that when your desire for me, your love for me reaches a level where I am moved out of compassion, I will give you the divine light. And the divine light is such that it is not a step-by-step process. It is a well-lit lamp. Within a second, a dark room will be lit. Within a second, all your ignorance will, or your delusion will disappear. And that's the only route to it. Right?
And then he also, sorry.
Yeah, I think the last part, I'm sorry to cut you off. The last part that I wanted to say is when you have this well-lit lamp, right, and the delusion goes, Bhagwanji says, you're unifying myself with the beings. That means you become divinity.
Correct.
And that is another proof that we and him are one. The only thing that is stopping us from being him is reflecting him, is our delusion, our attachment, our body consciousness. And the only way we can get out of this delusion is by focusing our mind to him, increasing our desire and love for him. And then he will do the rest.
Absolutely. And then he says that, the important thing here is to say, okay, you say that, this world is unreal, this world is unreal. Yeah, this is unreal. But that doesn't mean that, somebody who's in a complete tamas, right? That person would immediately say, okay, so if this world is unreal, then why am I going to do anything, right? These are the people who will run away from their duties in life by calling everything unreal, right? That choice of action will only lead to further tamas, further ignorance in their lives. If you walk away from your duties, you're only increasing the tamas, the ignorance, the agyan in your life. And that is not what is being talked about here, right? So again, going back to what Abhinav was talking about, Atma Bhavasthaha. Atma Bhavasthaha. Right? Let's understand this a little bit more, right? Being established in oneself. What is oneself? What do we mean by oneself? Generally, if we ask, like, who are you? If we are asked that question, almost all our answers are around some or the other quality that is related to the body. It's all deeply body consciousness related. Okay? I am young, I am old, I am a child, I'm a CEO, I'm an employee of Apple, whatever, right? I'm a consultant, I'm an advisor. All are, I'm a dancer, or whatever, right? Everything is related to body, and these are either qualities or ways of being or some roles that this body acquires. When you take these things away, the names, the forms, when you take those names and forms away, then what are you left with? That is the Nidhi Dhyasan and Manan that we need to do on ourselves. Who am I? Who am I really when I take all these names and forms away from me? That is being referred to as being established in oneself. Okay. And another, so this understanding of who I really am is the lit lamp that he brings into our lives, right? And he says that I bring it to you. I bring it to you myself, right? What does that mean? It means that there's no effort required for it. You don't even have to have a desire for it. There is no effort. There is no requirement of a desire there. He brings it to you automatically. That is a very powerful thing to know. Then the question comes, oh, I don't have to have a desire for this gyan. Then what do I need to do? I don't have to work for it. Then why do you keep talking about Karma Yoga all through? What is all of this about Swadhyay? What is all of this about Gyan, Manan, Shravan, Nidhi Dhyasan, Satsang, Naam Jap? Every day you keep telling me do, and now you're saying nothing is required to be done. It will happen by itself. Right? Seemingly dichotomous, right? The answer is this. You have to make yourself adhikari of that knowledge. That is where the effort comes into play. You have to make yourself deserving of that grace. Okay? So you have to work all of your karma yoga, all of your jnana, everything towards becoming deserving. Once you become deserving, you come up till here. When you do yoga, all the work is up to the jnana chakra. Right? After that, nothing. You can't do anything beyond this. You get here. This, when you've reached here from a yoga perspective, is when you have created yourself as deserving of his grace. Post that, the grace will happen by itself. After that, there is no effort required. There is no effort to actually acquire the gyan. Actually understand what your real swarup is. And with that also comes, with gyan comes vairagya. Vairagya is your samta, equanimity. Vairagya is dispassion, but dispassion, how is it reflected? Dispassion is reflected in you being equanimous in all situations. It is reflected in not being desirous or covetous of any result, of any action that you do. That is dispassion, that is vairagya. So vairagya and Gyan will dawn on you by itself. Bhagwanji will swatah give it to you without you needing to work for it. Okay. And this is something that Bhagwanji has given an assurance of in 9.22 also, when he said, for such people, the Satat Yuktanam, those people who are constantly connected to me and are doing my bhajan, I do their yogakshema myself. I bring it myself. I bring it, not through someone else. I bring it. I take care of everything they need, all their requirements, and I also preserve what they need. I bring it to you and I preserve it for you. Everything that you need in the physical world, everything you need in the emotional world, everything you need in the spiritual world, which includes this yogakshemam of Gyan and Vairagya.
So we've given this example earlier as well, but one of the easiest ways to visualize Bhakti Yoga, what Tuvina is talking about, right, is most of us in this class are parents, right? Or we've seen small children around us. Just look at the relationship between that infant, baby, toddler with a mother. That is Bhakti Yoga. And I'll tell you how. The baby loves the mother despite how the mother is, whether she's short, whether she's tall, whether she's fat, whether she's thin. The baby loves the mother even if the mother has temper, doesn't have temper, mother is very busy or not busy, mother is, whatever the situation is, the baby will love the mother. So there is a certain amount of dispassion that exists. And because that love, that bhakti exists for the mother, what does the mother do for the child? Everything. Everything. Whatever the child requires, the mother will step up, even if the child does not ask for it, because the mother knows best. Mother knows better. And that's a very sansaric example, but it's a relationship that is coveted in every religion, in every country of the world. Mother's love. Because it's the closest we can see what Bhakti Yoga is. And as that child, like baby, when he's 2 years old or 1 year old or 6 months old, they have no separate identity. Their identity is their mother's identity. As they grow older, we give them more intellect, we give them more sansaric knowledge, we build independence in them, and then they build that separate identity, and then the love between the mother and the son evolves. It's no longer true Bhakti Yoga. It becomes transactional. Judgment comes in because sansar is coming, sansarikta is coming.
Correct. I think that's a very powerful example, and we'll refer to it again in a later shloka. I think the final thing that I want to talk about here is that both Karma Yoga and Gyan Yoga are sadhan. They are methods to get to Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the sadhya. Bhakti Yoga is what you want to acquire or get to. So Karma Yoga and Gyan Yoga are sadhan. They are your methods to get to Bhakti Yoga. And in Gita, we have Bhakti Yoga right in the middle of Gyan Yoga and Karma Yoga. Right? So both of them, both those paths lead ultimately to Bhakti Yoga, which sits in the middle. Right? And that's why Bhagwanji says, I will give you Bhakti Yoga. In the 10th one, right? Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. I will give you Karma Yoga. I'll give you the ability to do Karma Yoga. But then he says, Jnana Deepena Bhaswata. I will give you Gyan too. So he'll give both those aspects to us, to his Bhakt. Karma Yoga is the one that is related to Apara Prakriti. So one that is the materialistic nature. So in the materialistic nature, when you are dealing with his Maya, you need Karma Yoga. So I will give you Buddhi Yoga for that. Then he says what? For the Para Prakriti. For that which is beyond the material nature of this world, I will give you Gyan Yoga to be able to understand that, to be able to deal with that. I'll give you Gyan for that. So both Para and Apara, he takes care of us. He says, I'll give you both, which will then lead to Bhakti. They'll both lead to Bhakti Yoga. Okay. And so once a person is able to do Karma Yoga properly, he will become a source of welfare for the world. Like that we now understand already, having gone through first 6 chapters. When you are doing a proper Karma Yoga, then you are not attached to your end result. You're doing everything through his grace, through his energy, for his happiness alone. And you're doing whatever is your dharma. So only the welfare of the world will happen through your hands. You cannot do anything that is anything but welfare. Okay. And such a and when this bhakt receives the Gyan Yoga, then any kind of deha abhiman, any ego you have related to this body, related to the prakriti, related to your own, oh, I am so good at this, I am so good at that, right? All of that, or I did this, or I did that, that ahankar, that ego will be dissolved away. Yes, Kavita.
Yeah, Tuhina, I just have a doubt. You're saying this Karma Yoga and Gyan Yoga, right? And he gives to get the Bhakti Yoga.
They both lead to Bhakti Yoga.
Lead to Bhakti Yoga. But if we need to get the grace of the God, as it mentioned in shloka number 10, so we already need to be a Bhakt.
You already need to be a Bhakt. Yes, confusing chicken egg.
So it starts with the Bhakt. Anyway, it starts with the devotion, then the grace of the God will come, which leads to more Bhakti, is it? Like, how?
Very nice, very nice. Something that I would have covered over the next couple of shlokas. See, this is what is Arjun. So Arjun's questions will get answered by Bhagwanji, and he knows where his consciousness of his bhakt is. So exactly this question will get answered over the next couple of shlokas. But I'll answer that by saying Mano phir jano. Okay, Mano phir jano. That's something that we said from class number 1, right? That is exactly what is being said here again, and that is the answer to your question, Kavita. Right? There is Vishwas. Bhakti starts with Vishwas, starts with faith, starts with that fact that I have to mano, that everything that you are telling me is truth. Right? So if I have that faith, Bhakti mein this faith ki, is Vishwas ki pramukhta hai. It is very important. It starts with that. So you start with faith, not bhakti. Start with faith, mana. Okay. And when you accept it as truth, when you have that faith, and then with that faith, you do what is being told to you. You have to do these steps. You have to do this stuff. You have to do Nam Jap. You have to do Swadhyay. You have to get into Satsang. You have to do Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan. When you take all of these steps, and that is when, and you start to attempt to learn to do Karma Yoga properly, then you learn to, start to see him in everything around you. Then you get your Karma Yoga, then you get Gyan Yoga. First, he gives you Buddhi Yoga, Dadami Buddhi Yogam, right? He first gives you Buddhi Yoga. And with that Buddhi Yoga, and then he gives you the Gyan Yoga, what happens? You will receive, like when he says Swataha, you will get Vairagya. Swataha, you will get Gyan. That means that one day you will realize that, oh my gosh, my ability to deal with problems has grown tremendously. What did I do to get here? I don't know. But suddenly my ability to deal with this really large problem, I have the ability. My mental capacity to deal with it is so much big. And then you will also realize that, oh, you suddenly have become a lot more equanimous. Come what may, your equanimity has increased. You didn't do anything to get there. Bhagwanji gave it to you because of the effort you did through that mano piece. You accept, you understand, you have that faith, and so you follow the path. He's showing you a path to follow. With that faith, you follow the path. You don't have samshay. You don't have cavil. You don't cavil it. You don't say this knowledge is wrong. You're telling me wrong. You're leading me down the wrong path because I tried this, but I did not get the end result. Right? You keep going back and to say, okay, I did not do this correctly. Probably, what can I do better? How do you don't doubt the path? With that faith in the path, with the faith in that process, you follow the process. You'll keep going back whenever your process is not yielding the results it's supposed to yield or what has been promised to you. You go back, you practice, you practice, you practice. What was that? Practice yoga. What is the Hindi word for that? So there was practice yoga, right? In Karma Yoga, most important thing is practice yoga. That was told to us. You have to keep on practicing, right?
Abhyas yoga.
Abhyas.
Abhyas.
Perfect. Abhyas yoga, right? So when you keep doing that and you keep following that path, you will get buddhi yoga to be able to do your karma yoga well. You will get gyan yoga, and both of them will lead eventually to complete bhakti. Okay, and that bhakti and all of this is a cycle. It's a cycle. It isn't a linear. It's not a linear journey, right? It's a circular journey that goes up. It's helical. So more karma yoga, more gyan yoga, more bhakti leads to better karma yogi, better gyan, and then better gyan leads to more bhakti. It is continuously improving upon itself. So you get to level 1 on karma yoga, that leads to level 1 on gyan yoga and bhakti yoga, and then it takes you to the level 2. So you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into each of these. They are self-reinforcing mechanism. Starts with mano vishwas. Okay, and that vishwas will then lead you down the road.
Okay, thank you.
So if I can add, and I'll keep it short. Each person, I remember when all of us have joined the Gita class, we always ask, why do you do it? Or why do you want to come into the Gita class, right? Each person has a slightly different reason. They come with, and all of us have entered this journey with slightly different vibhutis, slightly different inclinations from our past lives. Some of us have far more energy to do action. Some of us have far more bhakti and the bhakti bhav and the faith. Some of us have less of it. Some of us have an idea of, oh, we really just want to understand things better, right? Each one, but the central theme for all of us is we are going to try and implement it to become better versions of ourselves. And all of us are stemmed or steeped in Rajagun, so in action, in dynamism, in duty. So we are steeped in Karma Yogi, right? Now, visualize that all of us are starting from different points, but the end point for us to go out is the same, which is Bhakti Yoga. Now, how we go through the maze would be dependent on our journey, our natural predisposition, and how we implement it. But the end point will be the same for us all. And we will more of, even if you don't know Bhakti Yoga right now, and you don't know Gyan Yoga, and you only do Karma Yoga, it will naturally fuel your Bhakti. Where you will, after a few years, realize, no, I want to actually learn more about Bhakti Yoga. I'm curious on how Bhagwanji works. Who is he? Where is he? It will naturally fuel that curiosity. So no matter which chapter, where you start in the book, whichever you're naturally predisposed to, it will eventually lead to Bhakti Yoga.
Correct. And just like Abhinav gave that example, right, of that kid and mother. So when a child is really small, right, he's completely dependent on mother, right? So he does not see anything wrong with himself. He does not see I'm wearing dirty clothes or I'm dirty. He doesn't see that. Mama will take care of him. She'll give him a bath when he's dirty. He doesn't know whether he's dirty or not dirty. He's happy. Okay. Whether his clothes are dirty, not dirty, he doesn't care. He's eaten food. Food is all over his thing. He'll still be happy. He'll be playing. Mother will come and take care of him. So he's like, I don't care who I am, what I am, how I am, in what state I am in. Whatever is required to be done, my mom will take care of me. Right? Bhakt has the same level of ashray towards Bhagwanji. I don't care what are my external circumstances. I'm living in Singapore, I'm living in Malta, I'm taken to India, I'm taken to wherever I'm taken to. Whatever my role has been given to me. Today I'm given role of a mom, tomorrow I'm given role of something else. Tomorrow I'm given another role. Doesn't matter what role I've been given, I will perform it to the best of my abilities. Right? I don't see any kami in myself. Others may see kami. Arey, you don't have money, you don't have fame, you don't have this, you don't have that. Arey, you don't have a Louis Vuitton bag, right? The bhakt doesn't have any such requirements. He has no sense of kami. He doesn't have any sense of abhav. I have everything I need because Bhagwanji knows best. He has given me everything I need. So I have no sense of abhav. If there's no sense of abhav, then there is no sense of rajogun to go and acquire something because there's no bhav, no? The rajogun starts with a sense of abhav. I don't have this, now I need to acquire this. So rajogun. When there is no abhav, there is no rajogun. Then there is only one thing, that is satogun. And satogun only thinks of kartavya, only duty, only dharma. Whatever is my duty, whatever is my dharma, I need to do that. And for a devotee, the first and the foremost dharma is what? To accept Lord as his own. When you accept Lord as his own, then you will do your kartavya karma because that is what is required by Lord of you. You will do your kartavya karma, you will do your dharma. And when that happens, then Bhagwanji will give you, without you asking for it, he will give you the samarthya, he will give you the capability for both karma yoga and gyan yoga. That is what he has promised us in shloka 10 and shloka 11. You get gyan, you get the ability to get gyan, you get ability to do karma. I'll give you both. Okay. Now we'll see how all of this is leading to bhakti over the next few shlokas. Right?
If you don't mind, just wanted to add one sample. Hope you would have heard about Ramana Maharishi. He used to stay at Tiruvannamalai. So one of the points that you guys were referring to, I just remember one of the instances. There are hundreds of people, thousands of people who will be waiting just to meet him and so on. He will be like the kid just looking at Annamalai. Annamalai is just the mountain, like Kailasha, it's called Southern Kailasha. So he keeps looking into it in awe. That's it. He forgets to eat, sleep, nothing. So people typically carry him. So there'll be hundreds of thousands of people just waiting to get his blessings, all that kind of thing. He'll just forget everything. It is just him and the Annamalai. That's it. So Arunachaleshwara, that's the only thing that he goes by. And most of the things, like when they are in the vicinity of this great Maharishi, half of them get clarified automatically. It is imparted in their knowledge. So that's why he's so popular and so on. Half of them, it's non-verbal communication only with them. That's the way.
Absolutely.
It is.
When you have reached that stage of Maharshi, he's become a Gyan yogi, right? He's a Gyan yogi. When he has reached that, he has completely lost his sense of body consciousness, as you just described, right? He has no sense of body consciousness. And things will happen. Guna guno mein baratte hain. Right? We did that in chapter 4. Guna hi guno mein baratte hain. The gunas will work by themselves to do what they need to with the body. But I have zero consciousness of it. I have no abhiman for it. Whatever's happening is happening, right? And when that happens, that glow inside of you, the divinity inside of you, it shines forth. When you are in presence of such gurus, in presence of such maharshis, just that presence is going to dissolve your path. It will dissolve your granthiya. It will dissolve your knots. And you will get clarity, swataha. You will get gyan, swataha. Your ability to deal with or to practice karma yoga will increase swataha, exactly what Vijay has just explained to us through this example. Brilliant. Thank you. Another important thing that he has promised us in this is that this promise that he has given us does not favor anybody. It doesn't matter what your background is, what you have done thus far. It does not matter. Once you get on this path and you do as is told with full faith in the path, he will come and give you his grace. Your past does not matter to him. Whether you have all your life been a thief, or in 10 lives you have been an animal, it doesn't matter. The fact that you have been given a human birth is proof enough that he thinks you are ready. You're ready to get him. You're ready to acquire him. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this human birth. You have human birth because now you've achieved it. You have reached that point where he thinks, okay, that's it. This is the point. Now you're ready. Go get it. Right? So now all you have to do is go fix your mind on the Lord. How do you fix your mind on the Lord? Is all that we've been reading from chapter 7 up till now. How do you fix your mind on him while doing karma, while being in this world? Okay. Sanchita, will you read with us?
From the 7th chapter onwards, what the perception of the Lord means has been clearly explained. How he manifests himself in the shape of the phenomenal world, and how the darkness of ignorance can be dispelled by his worship. The intellect involved in the phenomenal world becomes confused when it tries to comprehend the process of his manifestation. The powers which radiate from his transcendental resplendence and the relationship of these powers with his magnificent sublimities. Arjuna therefore seeks clarification on these points from the Lord in the following 2 questions.
Arjun Uvacha.
Arjun Uvacha.
Param Brahma Param Dhama.
Param Brahma Param Dhama.
Pavitram Paramam Bhavan.
Pavitram Paramam Bhavan.
Purusham Shashwatam Divyam.
Purusham Shashvatam Divyam.
Adidevam Ajam Vibhum.
Adidevamajam Vibhum.
Ahu Sattvam Rishaya Sarve.
Ahushastvam Rishay Sharve.
Ahustva Mrishaya Sarve. Ahustva Mrishaya Sarve.
Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve.
Devarshi Naradastata.
Devarshi Naradastata.
Asito Devalo Vyasaha.
Asito Devalo Vyasaha.
Swayam Chaivra Vishime.
Swayam Chaiva Vravishime.
Param Brahma is the Nirgun Nirakar aspect of the Lord. Param Brahma, Nirgun Nirakar. Param Dham, the supreme abode where all ultimately dissolves and goes, where it stays. Okay, it is the Sagun Nirakar aspect of the Lord. Pavitram Paramam is one that is so ultimately pure that anything that comes in touch with it also purifies. Like the example Vijay gave. The Maharshi is so pure that when you come in touch with him, you become purer. Right? It purifies. It's the ultimate purifier, ultimate sanctifier. Bhavan is you. Purusham Shashwatam Divyam. So Divyam Purusham, divine person, divine personality. Shashwatam, eternal. Adi Devam. Adi Devam is the first Dev, or the god of all the Devas, god of the gods. Ajam, never born. Vibhum, Sarva Vyapi, the omnipresent. Ahu, Ahu is कहते हैं. Twa, ऐसा आपको. Who? Sages. Rishayah, sages. So this is how the sages speak of you. Sarve, all sages speak of you like this. Devarshi Narad, Devarishi, Narad, Tatha and Asit, Deval, Vyas, names of rishis. Swayam Chaiva Bravishi me. Bravishi is tell or say. Me to me. Cha ev and also. Swayam, you yourself.
Arjuna asked, "You are the supreme Brahman, the supreme abode, the supreme sanctifier. You are the eternal divine Purusha, the primal deity, God of all gods, the never born and the omnipresent. You are spoken of as such by all the sages and also by Devarshi Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa, and the same thing you yourself say to me. The propounding of the supreme eternal divine and the immutable state of the Lord by the sages. In shloka 12, Arjuna speaks of the supreme state of the Lord without attributes as being the supreme abode and supreme sanctifier. Whatever appearances are manifested in the world are all subject to dissolution, but the Lord is the one immutable eternal existence. Out of him evolve myriads of creation. He transcends the phenomena of births and deaths, and he pervades all."
So just stop here for a second. So the one thing that I'd like to highlight here, right, is after we're in chapter 10. So he's listened to Bhagwanji for the last 7 chapters, right? 7, 8 chapters, because Bhagwanji started speaking in chapter 2, right? And this particular shlok is very important because this is a shlok, one of the first shlokas of Arjuna, where the shlok itself is not asking a question. He is repeating what he has come to believe is true.
Absolutely.
So this is in the heart of Bhakti Yoga, because now he's reached this point where I know this to be true, Bhagwanji. I understand what you've told me. I'm not just listening. I'm not just taking gyan. I have internalized this and now I believe this to be true. You are the supreme Brahm. You are the supreme abode. You are the supreme sanctifier. You are the never born. Now that he's reached this level of conviction, his next level of questioning and his next level of curiosity will be, how do I get there?
Correct.
And if we don't have that strong desire to get to Bhagwanji, it's because we don't have a conviction that this is true.
Correct. Exactly what Abhinav said. This
So-
is where he will do his stuti. This is where he's doing his stuti. First time he's doing a stuti where he tells Bhagwanji that I now fully believe. 12, 13, 14. This is where now the bhakti starts. The bhakti starts with first knowing, believing, not knowing, sorry, believing, manna. And once you do manna properly and you follow the path, then jnana happens.
So,
Because Bhagwanji gives you the Gyan Yoga, he gives you the Buddhi Yoga.
yeah. And in the Gita class, in the satsang, you have full freedom to question whatever you don't understand till you reach this point of conviction. Question whatever doesn't make, that's the doubt, whatever doesn't make sense to you, whatever is not adding up, that is where you need to do the internalization, the reflection, the nididhyasa. And if it doesn't come to you, ask.
But that will also never happen unless we practice. We have to put these principles into practice in our daily lives. It's when we practice, then the real churning of our consciousness happens. It's only, see, knowledge, end of the day, is only an illuminator. Knowledge will only illuminate. All of this information that is coming to us will illuminate. It will show us what is happening in our lives. But actions are the purifiers of our antakaran. If we don't do action and we just see it, yeah, it's there, I can see there is some gandagi there, but I don't do the action to clean it up, there would be no cleansing that will happen. Knowledge will not cleanse, it will only show. Okay? It will only show. The knowledge that we are getting today, we are still in that materialistic world, right? We haven't become him. When his grace happens, then we get the para knowledge. Then we get to the state of knowing, and that knowing becomes being. Then we are no longer in a space of doing. Currently, we are in the space of doing. Doing means knowledge is not become me. Knowledge is still an external thing that I am looking at. I'm reading, I'm understanding through my intellect, and I'm using that knowledge to illuminate parts of my life. And I will cleanse myself through the actions I need to take. Right? Those are the actions of Nam Jap, Swadhyay, Shravan, Satsang, Nididhyasan, Manan. Actually taking action in the life, being able to see his manifestations in your real life every single day, and then seeing how did you act with God today? How did you behave with God today? What did you do with God today? And in that moment, you start to cleanse yourself. You start to think, you start to cleanse yourself. And with that comes the conviction. The conviction that Arjun is now beginning to express. Full conviction. That I completely, fully have faith that you are that Param Brahma that you told me of in chapter 3. Right? You are that person, you who's sitting in front of me. Krishna, who you are sitting in front of me. Right? And who is this Krishna sitting in front of us? Gita. In the class, that conviction that Krishna is here with us in the class. Every time we have satsang, Krishna himself comes. He is present here in the class. So if he's present here in the class, how are you behaving towards him? If we are logging in late into the class, then that's a disrespect to Krishna himself. Where is your conviction? Do you really have the conviction that Krishna comes here to teach you through this book? This book is Krishna himself. It's not something that has been given by a human being. It is his language. It is his words. So if you have the conviction that Bhagwanji himself is coming and talking to you through Gita, that this Gita is Krishna himself. This is Param Brahma. This Gita is the Param Dham. This Gita is the Pavitram Paramam. That if you touch Gita properly, the Gita will purify you in a way that nothing else can. If you truly have that conviction, then your way of being towards the satsang, your way of being towards what actions Gita is asking you to take will be a different level altogether. So this is a point for us to see where are we in our level of conviction. We have to get to a level of Satat Yuktanam, the one who are constantly doing his bhajan, to be able to be granted that grace that he's talking of. Okay, but first we have to make ourselves worthy of that grace. We are not worthy, we are not deserving of that grace yet. Nowhere even close. The tap will get us there. How much is my tap on a daily basis? How much of Nididhyasan do I do before sleeping at night? Do you do a 2-minute evaluation of your day? What did I do? How did I behave with Lord today? How was I? Did I give my best? In every way that I could. Right? That tap has to be there. Bina tapke, the gold doesn't come out. Okay? The gold shines with tap. That's true.
The names of sages as the levels of consciousness. In shloka 13, Arjuna refers to some sages and he says that they have described the attributes of the Lord as mentioned in shloka 12. The Puranas contain several legends relating to these sages, from which it appears that these names signify some personages. According to the scriptures, however, the physical appearances are merely manifestations, and so the human body is also taken to be a manifestation of the individualized self called the Jivatma. Those persons who strive for attainment of the perfect state pass through different levels of consciousness, which are signified by their names. Viewed in this light, the names of the sages given in shloka 13 signify the following levels of consciousness. Narada. Etymologically, this signifies a consciousness engaged in imparting spiritual knowledge. In several legends, the acquisition of spiritual knowledge by different devotees has been ascribed to his kind guidance. Asita. This signifies a consciousness free of worldly bondage. Devala. This signifies contemplation of divinity through the medium of physical attributes. Hence, this name indicates a consciousness attaining divinity through symbolic worship. Vyasa. This term signifies divisions of different subjects of knowledge to facilitate their study. To Maharshi Veda Vyasa is ascribed the division of the Vedas into 4 compilations. The statement made by Arjuna can be interpreted as denoting that the consciousness attaining the above-mentioned 4 levels earns the capability of realizing those aspects of the Lord which have been mentioned in shloka 12.
You want to take that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so the way to look at this, these particular consciousnesses is to look for them within us. So Narada, for example, it is anything that creates a learning opportunity, that helps you learn, that helps you understand, that helps you internalize, is that Narada consciousness within us.
And the Narada is Narad in different Puranic or in the kathas that are related in Bhagavad Puran. He in Sri Bhagavatam, he's often seen as somebody who is directly giving knowledge. He will actually recite and he will give knowledge directly, or he creates situations. He instigates people into certain situations, certain ways of being, to throw light on things that they need to learn from, or throw light on their own consciousness, which will show them ki yaar gandagi kahan hai? Where is the dirt inside your consciousness? What is it that you need to work on? So Narada consciousness is all around us in VVGP. VVGP, when we interact with VVGP, we are instigated into ways of being, and that shows us what we need to work on. That's the Narada consciousness. The Asit consciousness is the one that is free of worldly bondage, meaning bandhan rahit from any unreal and from the unreal things, right? So one that is free from the clutches of that ignorance that this world is real. And his son, Devala
So
is his son.
just to add, right? Don't visualize this in absolute form. Visualize this within yourself.
Yeah.
When you let go of something.
Correct.
And that power to
us.
let go is the Asita consciousness.
Yeah. And that's the consciousness inside of you that grows and becomes stronger as you do Swadhyay, as you go through this and you understand that this world is unreal. That's the consciousness that is getting stronger and stronger.
So if you feel you want to let go of something, but you cannot, pray to the Asita consciousness within yourself to help you let go. Or tap into the next one, which Tuvina will talk.
Devala is the son of Asit, who is basically this. It represents the Sagun Sakar way of connecting to the Lord. Sagun Sakar way of connecting to the Lord could be Nam Jap or Puja or Upasana. Right? It's that Sagun Sakar way of connecting to the Lord that will help you to make yourself deserving of His grace. Right? But then, very important, right? Sagun Sakar, you could be visiting the Char Dham, you could be visiting a temple, you could be doing Nam Jap on a daily basis, you could be doing Swadhyaya, you could be doing puja in your temple. Shouldn't stop there. If it stops there, then it has become a ritual. Okay, and a ritual that is devoid of all meaning in life. You've made it an entertainment, or you've made it a consumptive action. Because I feel good when I do puja. I feel good, I feel peace in that moment when I'm in a temple. I feel nice, let's go on a trip to a dham, to a temple, to a night. We've made it consumptive activity then. Okay, this is what is meant by the Ravan consciousness as well. When Ravan did Apaharan of Sita. Sita is what? Sita is this Maya Shakti. So when you are consuming, Ravan consciousness wants to consume from this world. So when we are using the VVGP around us, we can even use puja, we can use the Char Dham Yatra as a consumptive activity through a Ravan consciousness. When all we are doing is using it to have fun, to enjoy, for pleasure, momentary happiness, momentary peace. The real puja, the real Devala consciousness is when we do that puja, when we visit that mandir, and we bring it back into our lives. You've done puja. What have you thought about? How can you bring that puja back into your life? Unless your behavior on a day-to-day basis is changing, unless it is changing, you have converted that apparently sattvic activity also into a consumptive activity through Ravan consciousness. Be very aware of it. If you are feasting after fasting, you have not brought that activity of fasting into your daily life. That also has become a consumptive activity for you, because it will feed your ego. Oh, look at me, I do Ekadashi fast, I do Monday fast, I do Wednesday fast, I do 3 fasts a month. All it has done is fed your ego. Oh, I'm so great, I'm so amazing, look at me, I can do this, others can't do this, right? Unless that fast has changed your level of consumption on a daily life so that it does not translate into feasting, your gluttony is not being fueled. Oh yeah, I fasted. No, Sunday I fasted. So why I fast Monday to, have you heard this? I've heard it a lot of times. Monday to Friday I fast so that Saturday, Sunday there can be gluttony. Friday evening onwards, everything on. I will drink, I will smoke, I will eat whatever I want. Friday to Sunday I let go. But then Monday to Friday, I'm back. That's not fasting. That's gluttony. You've converted fasting into an act of consumption. So that is not Devala consciousness. Devala consciousness is when Monday to Friday fasting has changed your consumption pattern on the weekend when you let go. Over a period of time, you no longer want to eat just for the pleasure of eating. When you get into temptations, you don't go and just go all out. That one burger does not translate into 3 burgers and 3 drinks afterwards and like chocolates or ice creams after that. Right? Otherwise, that is not Devala consciousness. It's important to understand, right? Because we often take what we think are sattvic activities and convert them into rajasic or worse, tamasic activities, and then feel great about it. And then finally, Vyas consciousness. So Vyas has, as a rishi, has been talked of as, or is known to be the person who has created that. He took the entire knowledge from Bhagwanji and he compiled it into 4 Vedas. So he's the creator of the Vedas, right? So what this consciousness means is when we are able to, with that consciousness inside of us that is able to absorb the knowledge that is given to us, whether these are paramparic knowledges, whether these are ritualistic knowledges, whether it is music, the knowledge that is, the Samved, right? The knowledge where we learn how to connect to Lord through music and dance and everything, right? Whatever is the knowledge, we are able to ultimately use it to connect it to the Lord. Whatever knowledge comes to us, we use it to connect it back to Lord. That is Ved Vyasa's consciousness inside of us. We'll go ahead. Naina, will you read with us?
Now, in the forthcoming shloka, Arjuna points out the difficulty in comprehending the manifestation of the Lord's sublimities.
Sarvametattritam manye
Sarvametattritam manye
yanmam vadasi Keshava
yanmam vadasi Keshava
nahi te bhagavan vyaktim
nahi te bhagavan vyaktim
vidurdevana danavaha.
vidurdevana danavaha.
Sarva is all, sabko. Sarvam. Etat. Etat is etat and afterwards is yatmam. They are two important words we will come to. Okay. Dhritam, satyam, absolute truth. This is the rit. Okay. Manye, by me, or a manta hu. I accept. It's accepted by me. Yanmam is yat plus mam, whatever to me. Vadasi, aap kehte hain, you tell me. Keshav. Nahi te bhagwan vyaktim. Bhagavan Vyaktim is, hey Bhagwan, aapki avyakti, your manifestation. Vidur, jante hain, no. The devas or the god, or the gods or the demons. None of them really know your manifestation, or they can understand your manifestations. The process of how you go from avyakt to vyakt.
O Keshava, I accept as being true all that you tell me. O Lord, neither the gods nor the demons know your manifestations. The difficulty in comprehending the Lord's manifestation. Self-surrender makes the perception of Lord's manifestations easy. Otherwise, neither the gods with subtle consciousness nor the demons with gross consciousness can comprehend the secret of his manifestations. The reason is that both the capabilities of comprehension and its process emanates from the Lord. Therefore, he cannot be an object of cognition. He can be experienced only by a total surrender of the self.
So I think we started the class talking about this a little bit, right? That as you have, all of us have worldly tools, and worldly tools will never be capable of fully comprehending or understanding Bhagwanji, because he's the infinite, right? A vessel will never understand the size of an ocean. It just cannot, no matter how many times it dips, right? Same thing with us and Bhagwanji. So out here, Arjun is basically telling us, or reminding Bhagwanji, that in this body, I will never fully be able to comprehend you. And he will now make his next task.
Yeah. So this is the first shloka in which, no, not this one. This is the next one. Okay. So in this, so the first thing I think we will look at is the word Keshav. He's referred to Bhagwanji as Krishna as Keshav in a lot of different places, right? What does Keshav mean, right? We've never gone into that. Keshav mein ka means Brahma, the creator. Ka means Vishnu, the maintainer, and Ish is Shankar, the destroyer, and the last Va means Vapuhu. That means the one that is a Swaroop. So Keshav means one that is the Swaroop of all three, Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar. So when he's referring to Krishna as Keshav, he's basically saying, I fully accept that when you told me about Brahma, you told me about Krishna, you told me about Mahadev, the All of those things is you. You are the creator of this world. Everybody, everything in this world comes forth from you. You are the creator. You are the sanchalak. You are the maintainer of this world. You do yoga kshemam. You provide for everyone. I fully accept that. And you alone are the destroyer. You are the place where everybody goes to when this world dissolves. Right? So I fully accept this fact about you who is sitting in front of me. For us, it is Gita. Krishna is who? Gita for us. Okay. So then he says that yat mam, everything that you have told me about Vibhuti and yoga through Vibhuti in chapter 10, and etat, sarvam etat, everything you've told me before this, from chapter 7 to chapter 9, right? I accept this as rit. There's a difference between satya and rit. Satya is what is true for now. Rit is true for all times. Right? So it is day in Singapore. It is day here. Today it is the daytime. It is the Satya in Singapore. It is not the Satya for US. Right? It is true here now, but it is false elsewhere. Rit is that which is true at all times. Earth revolves around the sun is the truth for all places at all times. That's the difference between Satya and Rit. Universal truth at all times. At no point of time does it become untrue. So he's saying that I accept this as the ultimate Rit, ultimate truth at all times. Okay. So again, so 12, 13, 14, he is showing his conviction in everything that has been told to him, that now I fully am steeped in that conviction. I have complete faith. There is no doubt in my mind that what you're telling me is truth. And you've told me that, in 4.5, he's told us that you and me have had lots of janams before this. You don't remember any of those, but I remember all my previous janams. Right? So he said that. And then after that, he says, but nobody really knows how I make myself manifest. In 10.2 shloka itself, 10.2, he says that the devtas and the maharshis don't know how I come into being, how I manifest myself. That process of manifestation is beyond even devtas and maharshis. And we are normal human beings, right? Devtas and maharshis have sublimities. They have the abilities and consciousness that's way more elevated than us. Even they cannot know how I manifest myself. I accept that as true. The Danavs can definitely not accept it. Even though Danavs, the Rakshasas, they also have a lot of powers. But those powers are sansaric powers. They can do all kinds of funny things with the Maya that you might find very amazing, right? That are stronger than us. But everything is in this sansar. And so they are all limited. They all have a starting point and an ending point. They are all kshanabhangur. They are all transient. And so, being that way, they cannot know that which was the origin of them all. 10.2. Like Abhinav said, eyes can see, and eye cannot see an eye itself. When you have light coming from a torch, that light will illuminate everything in front of it. That light cannot illuminate the torch itself. And so Arjun says, I accept this to be completely true. I have full faith, full conviction in this. And that I obviously cannot understand how you manifest yourself, or this process of how you choose to manifest yourself. Okay. So he says that I have my limitation, but I accept what you're telling me as true, even though I cannot prove it to myself. I cannot prove it to myself because I do not have the tool set to prove it to myself. But I will still be in the state of Mano, because once I'm in that full state of Mano, the Jano will occur because he will give me the divine tool set himself, Swataha. and then I will know. Okay. Do we have time for next one? 10 minutes, right? Let's do it. Okay. Smita, will you read with us?
Sure. Clarifying this, Arjuna says,
Swamevatmanatmanam
Swayamnivatmanatmanam
Vetatvam Purushottama
Vethatvam Purushottamaha
Bhuta Bhavana Bhutesha
Bhuta Bhavana Bhutesha
Deva Deva Jagatpate.
Deva Deva Jagatpate.
Swamevatmanatmanam is स्वयं ही अपने आप को जानते हैं. You know yourself as yourself by yourself. Okay, we'll get into details of the meaning of that. Okay, Purushottama, supreme self. Bhuta Bhavana, creator of all beings. Bhutesha, God of all beings. Deva Deva, God of all gods. Jagatpate, Lord of the worlds.
O Supreme Self, O Creator of beings, O Lord of all beings, O God of gods, O Lord of all the worlds, you yourself know yourself by yourself. The Lord is the supreme controller of beings, and in him is the triad of the knower, the knowledge, and the known. In this shlok, Arjuna clarifies that the Lord is the knower, knowledge, and also the known. The attributes mentioned in the shlok are explained below. Purushottama, the Supreme Self. Full implications of this attribute will be found in chapter 15. The word Purusha here does not signify a male person. It indicates an entity which is manifested through physical appearances. The controller of the self of a being and its manifestation is superior to both, and is denoted by the word Purushottam. Bhuta Bhavna, the creator of beings. The physical appearances are sustained by the power of the Lord, who is also their creator. He is denoted by the word Bhut Bhavna. Bhutesha, the Lord of all beings. The Lord is controller of all physical appearances. Hence, he is denoted by the word Bhutesh. Jagatpati, the Lord of all the worlds. The Lord is the creator, controller, and sustainer of all the worlds. Hence, he is denoted by the word Jagatpati. Thus, speaking of the immanent form of the world, he says that the Lord himself knows himself by himself, that in the Lord exists the triad of the knower, knowledge, and the known.
So this is the first shlok and the only shlok in Gita where there are five references to the Lord, 5 sambodhan. Okay, this entire shlok almost is just full of his sambodhan, so it's full of his stuti. Okay, and the way he refers to him as is Purushottam, Bhut Bhavan, Bhutesh, Jagatpati, and Deva Deva. Okay, so why is that the case here? We'll get into the meanings of all of them. But basically at this stage, all the way from 12, 13, 14, and now coming to 15, right? After fully being convinced of the true nature of Bhagwanji, after really understanding his immanence, his expanse, his compassion, that despite all of this, he's so compassionate towards the Jivatma. After fully understanding his incapability of understanding him through the tools that are available to him, forget about himself, even the gods and the demons can't understand him. Like, after really getting to that point, now there's a new form of deep reverence that is becoming present inside his heart. There's a new deep form of reverence that is coming into him because of this conviction that he has developed and the belief he has developed of who Bhagwan Ji really is, to the extent he can with his limited tool set. Okay, and that deep form of reverence is coming forth in this way, in the way he refers to him. He says, you are the Supreme Self, the Purushottam, you're the divine personality, the best of the best out there. Purushottam, the most Uttam, the best of the best out there. Right? And he says, you are the Bhuta Bhavan, the creator of all beings. I bow down to you. Bhutesh, the Lord of all beings. Why are you the Lord of all beings? Because you are the provider of everything to everyone. You are the maintainer, the Sanchalak. So you are the king because you provide for all your subjects. Deva, Deva, you're the God of all the gods, all the amazing energies of the gods that we see around us that are maintaining this world. The Surya Dev, the Chandra Dev, the Varun Dev, the Vayu Devta, all these gods that we see with their super powerful, amazing powers, you are even above them. They are just a representation of that small fraction of your power. You are the Jagatpati, you are the Lord of all the worlds out here, right? He is so full of reverence for him that he can't stop saying that any longer. Okay, so this is where now you see the start, the utpatti of bhakti is happening. The first bhakti is beginning to come forth, right? And then he says that you know yourself by yourself. What does this mean? First thing it means is that you know. So you are the person who wants to know. You know, you are the knower. You are the gyata. You are the knower. You know yourself. So you are also the object of that knowledge. You are the gye by yourself. By yourself, the process, that which helps to know that object of knowledge, that knowledge itself, that gyan. So you are the knower. You are the knowledge of the known. You are the knower, you are the knowledge, you are the known, you are the gyata, you are the gyan, and you are the gye. This is very important to know. This is a very special thing about the divine knowledge. You become that knowledge. You acquire the knowledge through the process of the knowledge, and in that entire process, when you understand that knowledge, you become that knowledge, which is very different, as we've said before, from materialistic knowledge. You are the gyata, separate from the process of getting that. There is a process of the object of the knowledge. There are three distinct things. In case of divine knowledge, all three become one. They all become one. You become that knowledge. You move from doing to being. Okay? You go from doing to being. That is so important. And so in here, what it means is that you don't need any equipment, a separate outside equipment to get this knowledge. Okay, so your buddhi, your antakaran, your man, none of that is of use. You need no equipment to get there. But the tyag, the vairagya, the tap that we talk of, all of these are very important in purifying our antakaran. That those equipments of our antakaran, we need to cleanse them through this tap, swadhyay, nam jap, vairagya, right? All of these are used to cleanse these, and they become stronger. But even with that strong set of antakaran, you cannot know him, but you can make them strong enough so that they become deserving and worthy of his grace. And when his grace comes, swataha apne aap hi, without any equipment, you, the jivatma, will stand in itself. It will know of itself by itself. After that, you don't need any external equipments for that. Then in Hindi, they use the word Karana Nishpeksh. You don't need any equipment for acquiring this knowledge. Okay. So that's it. I think we'll close this out. But this is where you see from everything that we've read today is the starting point of bhakti. Bhakti comes from knowing Bhagwanji, and it culminates in Gyan, then Gyan culminates in Bhakti ultimately. Right? Okay. So we'll start Shlok 16 in the next class. Time 11:59. So we'll do the closing. Who would like to do the seva for closing shlokas? Nena, would you like to take that seva?
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ